Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News First at 4 starts now.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. I'm Jason Colthorpe in for Karen today. First at 4, we're monitoring the radar, watching for afternoon summer storms, and by we, of course, I mean Ben Bailey. He's here to tell us where things stand. Hey, Ben.
We're all watching the radar, Jason. We're all concerned about that severe weather threat, and so far it hasn't really materialized here over southeast Michigan. Further to the south, it's a different story. There was a line of storms has just run through Sandusky and continuing off to the east. It looks like there's two main areas where the ingredients are really good for severe weather. We're sort of in that middle ground where we can't completely rule it out, but it does look like the possibilities are going to be a little bit less for us. Nevertheless, we're technically still in a marginal risk, really from the thumb down through central parts of Indiana and Ohio. So we're going to continue to watch it tonight. Temperatures, no doubt, going to be warm and humid for everybody. We'll stay in the mid-80s through sunset and then keep that humidity around tonight. Some improvement coming earlier than we anticipated in the 7-day forecast. We'll look at that ahead. Jason?
All right, sounds good, Ben. The man who police say led them on a wild chase last month went in front of a judge this afternoon. Prosecutors say 29-year-old Christopher Cavan led police on a high-speed chase for nearly 20 minutes June 3rd. It ended after police boxed that car in before the driver surged forward, which you'll see here in a second, toward an officer. And at that moment, that's when police opened fire, killing the passenger in the car. Cavan faces numerous charges, including second-degree murder. You'll hear some of the testimony from an officer at the scene and see body camera video of that shootout tonight at 5. A 16-year-old boy is recovering after being shot on Detroit's west side. This happened around midnight near the intersection of Greenfield and Joy Road. Police tell us the teen was looking to buy fireworks and knocked on a fireworks tent that was closed. We're told someone inside the tent shot the teen. Police are investigating and are looking at nearby security cameras for clues. Detroit police also investigating a deadly shooting on the west side. This happened this morning on Lasser, just south of 7 Mile. Police tell us when they arrived, they found a 49-year-old man dead on the sidewalk with a gunshot wound. Right now, they're still trying to figure out how this happened at all. The NAACP has just announced House Speaker Nancy Pelosi will speak at the upcoming national convention, which is right here in Detroit. Activists from around the country will be in town for that. She's scheduled to speak on July 22nd. First at 4, we're also tracking stories making headlines across America. President Donald Trump once promised to release his tax returns after an audit was completed. That's never happened, but now a House committee has filed a lawsuit trying to get access to the president's tax returns. It names the Treasury Department, the Treasury Secretary, and the IRS Commissioner, saying the administration has defied a subpoena. The House Ways and Means Committee says it's investigating tax law compliance by the president, among other things. President Trump also facing questions and concerns about his plans for the annual 4th of July celebration in the Capitol. The stage and stands are set near the Lincoln Memorial, where he will deliver a holiday speech. The president has also talked about a military element to the party, with Navy flyovers and military tanks being rolled out. But there are some concerns those tanks could do some damage to the streets of D.C. Plus, critics are fearful that partisan politics could be added to the celebration.
In fact, the people resent having any politician co-opt the nation's birthday.
The public is welcome to come and celebrate our great country, the greatest democracy, the Constitution, all the amendments, not just the First Amendment that seems to only interest you only, the Second Amendment, all the others, but really just the birth of this country, the greatest democracy that ever lived. I'm not going to allow you to politicize it.
There is one thing the president won't be able to control, and that's the weather. The D.C. forecast calling for some storms. We're told the rain might not be too bad, but lightning could be a concern. Speaking of fireworks and the celebration, when they go boom, many of our pets end up shaking and whimpering and hiding under the bed. Well, during this 4th of July, some pet owners might start turning to CBD oil looking to soothe their animals. Our Paula Tutman looks at the annual search for relief and why the CBD question puts veterinarians in a tough spot.
You know, when you are compassionate to animals and your animal suffers, hey, Oscar, where are you going? Where are you going, Oscar? And you're compassionate to animals, when they are suffering, then obviously you suffer as well. Isn't that right? And apparently these next few days are some of the worst for animals who have noise anxiety. We've entered one of the toughest stretches for anxious animals, according to Dr. Christina Yee of Goodison Veterinary Clinic in Rochester. You know, the period in which people have fireworks and can't wait to set them off. It's not that the last few days have been tough for Lee. They've been tough for Oscar, a rescue wiener dog who's extremely anxious much of the time, but particularly frightened by loud noises.
Especially the last few nights has been really bad, trying to get him relaxed at night, and kind of even in the middle of the night, people just 1, 2 o'clock in the morning not really caring and just kind of lighting stuff off.
Callie, also a recent rescue, is also developing anxiety, likely learned behavior from her mentor, Oscar.
Wiener dog she's got is probably the one that's more high anxiety. Lots of noises, kind of gets shakes, tremors, stuff like that.
Dr. Yee says pet patients need to be proactive in minimizing their pet's misery.
Dogs and pets are scared and anxious for the next month or so. Typically, signs they'll see: panting, pacing, trembling. A lot of dogs will try to hide in strange places. Provide their pet with a safe, quiet, calm environment, whether that be in a windowless room or a basement. Play some sound music that might drown out those fireworks outside. If you knew there were scheduled fireworks and you wanted to be extremely proactive, you could even remove yourself and your pet from the situation.
And while some pet parents have been turning to CBD oil or even considering it,
I'm for it. I actually have nerve damage and stuff from a car accident and stuff as well, so I've been considering looking into it to help out with relieving the pain and stuff as well.
Dr. Yee says the laws governing vets and their discussions with their parents regarding CBD oil haven't caught up with the hype.
The link to the Cornell study is probably the only study that's been actually researched versus just marketing of companies saying we have the best product.
Yeah, you know, let's go back to that CBD oil thing, because that really is a hot topic right now for humans and for pets. So let's talk about the pets. A lot of vets won't even talk about this because they can't. The law says that they're not able to tell their customers whether or not they endorse it or not. So what they really want pet parents to do is inform themselves. And that was that link that Dr. Yee was talking about. That Cornell study gives real information because it is the only actual study that takes a look at different kinds of oils. We're going to put a link on it on all of our social media platforms so you can find it yourself. Again, you put vets in a bad position because they can't talk about this oil, but they can send you to resources so you can find out about it yourself until the legislation catches up with the substance. Jason?
Yeah, that's really unfortunate that they can't talk openly about that, Paula. Did you get any sense, by the way, I wonder as a dog owner, are there any adverse reactions that dogs might have from this?
She can't tell me.
Oh,
she can't talk. And you know what? You're right. Because it is unfortunate. Because I said, well, you know, I mean, as a pet owner, I'd kind of like to know. Can you tell me, is it bad? Can you tell me, are there some brands that are better? And she said, by law, she can't discuss it. That is what it is. But go to that link that we're putting on our social media platform, and that might be able to give you some information.
Absolutely. Hopefully people will check that out. All right, Paula, very interesting. Thanks.